There he is.
Hi, guys.
Morning, Mike.
Hello, Kozak. You're a Winnipeg boy, eh?
That's right. That's right, Wally. Yeah, where are you? You're in Calgary?
I'm in Calgary, but being from Winnipeg, I don't know. My brother taught school at Isaac Newton. He's passed away. And my other brother, my brother is a retired radio announcer. His name was Boyd Kozak.
Yeah.
He broadcast at CKRC there. And I played for the national team for Father Bauer there back in the day. So
no kidding.
Where did you play in Winnipeg?
Yeah, so I'm from actually St. Adolphe. It's a little town south of Winnipeg. So I played there, and then Eastman Selects later on at the U16, U14 level. And then a short stint in Selkirk in the MJ, and then Weyburn, Saskatchewan for a couple before coming to college.
Who did you play for in Weyburn?
Who do you think?
Choop?
No. It was Bruce Thompson.
Okay.
Yeah. Then he went to the University of Regina after that. Yeah. But Dwight was always around. I don't know if you know Dwight McMillan. He's a legend there.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry for coming in late, guys. I was hoping to just we're off to a little bit of a slow start here, and sometimes it's good just to hear other guys talk about hockey and get out of my own head for a little bit.
So, Mike, how long you been coaching Colgate?
This is I was an assistant coach for 5 years, and then I left for a few years, and I came back. It's my second year as the head coach.
Yeah. And before that, you were at Devon?
Sorry?
Where were you before that? Your coaching?
Before my assistant coaching stint, I was playing. So I played in the American League for 5 or 6 years, and then in Europe for about 10 years.
Where'd you play in Europe?
Pick a country.
I don't know if you know Tom Malloy or not, but he's spent more time in Europe working with coaches that have sort of written the book about hockey in different countries, Yursanov and other great coaches. So,
yeah.
Tom, I wonder if you could introduce yourself to the Canadian coaching in the States right now and give them a bit of your background, what you're doing now. You'll be amazed how it comes full circle. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, I'm from Calgary. I played at Bemidji, and then I've coached University of Calgary, SAIT, and Mount Royal. That's the 3 institutions in Calgary. And I also went to Salzburg and was assistant there with Paget with the Red Bulls. And I worked a lot in Finland with a fellow named Johanni Walston. And we wrote the program for Austria together. And, that led to doing different camps in Norway and Czech Republic and all kinds of places like this. So anyways, I've been around a long time. Right now I'm coaching Bantam girls. Did you ever run into Gene Riley in your trips?
I haven't. If you're talking to me, I have not. No, I don't know Gene.
Yeah. Well, he did a lot of NCAA coaching. Peter knows him, I think. He's from Boston.
Yeah, we're a different generation, I think. But nonetheless, it's good to have you on because
thanks, Wally.
Tom is Tom, you just turned what, 77?
Yeah.
And he plays hockey 3 times a week.
Not very well anymore, but I play.
He waddles around out there, but he's really committed to the game and giving back. And he actually was ahead of his time back in the day because the coaches he was working with, Europe, were ahead of us, as you discovered when you went over there.
Yeah.
And he knew what was going on and bought into it. But Canada, of course, was sort of closed door, and we knew it all.
Right.
So Tom's work now, I think, is much more appreciated by those that are involved in the elite game. I don't think we played very good hockey growing up. It was rock'em sock'em, north south, and the game has changed so much. Now I'm a little
Wally. I was just going to ask Wally, if I can, Wally and Tom, do you think Canada's still closed off? Do you think we still think we know better, or are we starting to evolve?
I think it's really opened up. I've been watching, like in Calgary here, I watch a lot of practices, and they're so much better than they used to be. Like
The
I've been
Flames,
watching
you
the
mean?
Flames,
Yeah.
the Flames and the American League team, the Wranglers. And then I was watching Vancouver Giants the other day. Winsport has all these rinks, and they're practicing the same time. But the practices are so much better because like our practices used to be horrendous. You know, even in the 90s, I was helping a couple of guys that went on to the NHL, and our practices were not very good.
How do you mean specifically, Tom? Like, what's an example of how much better they are now?
Well, I remember a good example as I was helping, and I was teaching school, so I'd rush to the University of Calgary practices right after school with no prep or anything, you know, and throw my skates on and jump on the ice. So I asked our therapist was doing his master's, and he was putting heart things on guys and videoing them. And I said, Jeff, do you mind if I get the video, because some of these drill, you know, some of the things just so I understand exactly what we're doing. He says, sure. So I watched one of a defenseman, and we had, of course, university, you got 8 or 9 defensemen, right? Watching what he did during the practice, and he'd stand there listening to the drill. Then, you know, 2-on-1 or something like that, he'd get maybe 2 reps in 10 minutes or whatever. Then they'd all stand there listening to the next drill. And I thought, well, it's good that we do some bag skating, because the guy never skated all practice. You know, there was no game situation. You know, it was a lot of walkthroughs and really simplistic drills. In fact, Gary Roberts practiced with us while he was coming back from an injury. And after one practice, he said, Tom, you got to do something about these practices, because he was getting nothing out of them.
Right.
So now, you know, there's a lot of movement, a lot of good stuff. And I do little video clips. I go and I take about 2 minutes of video, because I can never remember what they're doing. And then I write them up after.
Right.
And I've been doing that. And yeah, there's just so much more happening out there. And there's a way better work rest ratio. And
where can I find those video clips, Tom?
Well, if I get your email thing, I can send you links, because I've got like 1,500. I finished in the spring. I watched all the Canada teams during COVID. They had to get ready in the summer, because they made up for the World Championships.
Yeah.
So the U18, U20, the women, and the women U18, they're all practicing this wind sport. And I got like 130 clips of their things and wrote them up to PDFs.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then this Wrangler stuff, and I've been doing it for a long time. So,
Tom, Tom plans practice, and he has a drill bank. And if you type in ABC coaching and subscribe to his site, you can access at least 1 million drills. But Tom, would you add Dan to your list, so when you send out today's practice plan, you can see the description, diagram, and also click on a link to view the drill, probably done by the Flames or the national women's team or something. And he does this with every practice with his U13 team, and he's been doing it for years.
U15.
Yeah, U15 team this year. And the other years, U18, whatever. his use of video and the way, if you want to get some drills that are going to help you immediately, that's probably the best thing is looking at his practice plans.
Great.
Because the detail of the description, along with the video, it's pretty hard to duplicate that kind of communication. It's really precious. I'll also add you to the Shark Skype list. I have about 90 coaches on it. When we're done this call and I'm recording, I usually edit it with titles and segments of 5 to 30 minutes, just for the sake, and I dedicated to the good of the game, so that anybody who's out there might make use of the conversation or the material that we share. So, knowing that you're on, I mentioned to Peter, if we got you on, I'd make you a guest. So that's why I'm asking you a question, but it's good that you're asking questions, because we'd sure like you to, benefit from some of the stuff that we're doing. Although Peter, myself, and Tom, we're focusing at mentoring now coaches at younger age levels and just trying to create a perspective in the game that's missing at the youth level growing up, because eventually those entitled athletes come to you and you have to deal with behaviors that are a lot more difficult than they should be. So the sport can develop great people if you do it the right way. And that's sort of the philosophy of the Sharks: lifelong learning and dedicated to the good of the game. So,
Wally, just for a sec, I think, pretty sure Mike Shumi's son